Yo, I think most of you watching this channel have seen me do this process at some point, but I just thought I'd spell it out in a more direct, clear video. This is how to remove stuff in the background of a stagnant shot, and it needs to be something that the subject or person or movement in general doesn't interact with. Let me make that part clear. So we're going to use this shot as an example, and we're going to pretend there's a world where I want to remove all my accolades and my child's drawing. So all of this here we want to get rid of. Now, what's important here again is that my head never crosses in front of this because it won't work, and the camera never moves because it also won't work. Another thing that can affect this is if the scene gets brighter or darker, but I'll show you a little bit of how to work around that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a screenshot of that frame, save it in your project file, open Photoshop, open your frame. We're just going to take the lasso select tool and we're going to draw around all the stuff that we want to remove. So it's just going to be this, all this stuff here. Now you're going to go into generative fill and you're just going to type remove. And this process sometimes can be a little trial and error because AI, you know, who knows what it's gonna create. Kind of nailed it first try. We'll just scrub through. Sometimes you get some weird generative stuff here. I just like this sort of like ambiguous black box. All right, so now that we have that, you're going to mute your background layer so you just have the generative fill and it's going to be a transparent image. You can just go to export quick as PNG, save that in your project file. I just do fill or whatever. Go back to Premiere, drag fill into your project file, drag it over top, and you can drag it across your frame. So obviously that doesn't look too great. It's covering it, but it looks really obvious. So just go into your Lumetri color and brighten it or darken it or whatever you need till you just kind of eyeball it till it looks like it's pretty much matched. You can play with contrast and highlights and all that if you need to, but generally it's not going to be as obvious to the person. This image is a little low quality, so it's kind of more obvious, but we have removed it. Now let me show you something here. I'm gonna create this synthetically. But let's say you're shooting next to a window and it gets a little brighter. So now while it might look good now, as your scene gets brighter, suddenly that becomes more obvious. And this process can be a little bit tedious and work better, but you're just gonna open the effects controls for that image, go to basic correction, exposure, and we're gonna keyframe it. So start at the darkest point, and then when it gets to the lightest point, you're just gonna mess around with it until it blends again. It's not foolproof, but you can tweak it to where it covers. But that's pretty much the concept behind it. It does a pretty good job, and you can tweak it a little bit more, but it's a lot easier than using content-aware fill, much faster than After Effects. I think one of the most notable examples of it is on my Marriage Before Kids video about a month ago. The entire outside of the frame is generative filled in, so it looks a lot nicer than the windows that were in the background. I hope that was helpful. If you have a better workflow or something, a different method or something that works, please let me know. I'm always looking for ways to improve the process.